welcome to Penned the Writer's Utopia. Listen, I'm so excited to have you join me. We are in season 2, and listen, man, do I have an array of guests. I hope you have been enjoying those who have come already in the previous weeks, but I have yet another amazing guest joining us tonight. I am super honored because she is, yes, another author that I was honored and graced with the privilege to be able to work with her on her project. She is none other than my good friend, Nailah Agyemann. Welcome to the writer's room, Nailah. How
Hey
are you?
everybody, glad to be here.
Yes, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
We haven't, not in real time. We have not.
Yeah, you're right. It's been a while. We're gonna have to fix that sometime
Yes,
after this episode, right?
yes, absolutely.
Listen, I am super excited to have you in the room. You are the author of Beauty for Ashes, which released earlier this year.
Mhm.
And it is such an amazing, inspirational book. And I can't wait to get into the juiciness with you, all about what it took you to write it, what you learned. But before we do all of that, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
So, as you stated, I am Nailah. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C., currently living in Montgomery County. I am still working. Prayerfully, I will retire at the end of 25. Yay!
Yay!
I am a mother, a grandmother, and a great grandmother. Can you believe that? My great
Great
grandson
grandma. Wow.
is 8, 9 months old. Oh, he is so. Uh, Later about him, more about him later. Um, can you tell I'm excited about being a great
Yes.
grandmother? Yes,
Yes.
I am really excited about that. I have 6 grands, proud of every last one of them. What else is there to tell? I'm an avid reader, and now I can say I am a published author, as you stated. And
Yes.
the book, it was it was bittersweet, to say the least.
Mm.
In the writing process, it it helped me to address unresolved trauma, and I'm glad of
Mm.
that. I grew tremendously from that. It helped me to listen more intently to God when He's speaking to me. It was out of obedience that the book was written, because Nailah never thought she would be an author. That was the furthest thing from my mind. But
And so, well, before you go any further, right?
mhm,
Because you're gonna give away all the beans. You gotta hold on to some beans. Come on here now.
okay.
Um, but before we get into that, let's stop right there. I was gonna ask you what led you to write the book, and you said it was obedience. Let's talk about that. Mhm.
So the Holy Spirit said to me one day, there is a book in you. Write about your journey to salvation. And okay. And then I said, but do you really want me to write about everything? Of course. So when it took me a little while to do it,
Yeah.
out of not so much fear or trepidation, I was just hesitant. I wanted to be obedient, but I was hesitant about being obedient. That's why I say
Yeah.
I've learned to be obedient. And when I decided that it was time to write the book, I reached out to a mutual friend who put me in touch with you so that I could start this. But throughout the process, it was a little hard because,
Yeah.
like I said, I had to address some unresolved trauma.
Yeah.
Um, I'm glad I did.
Now, the unresolved trauma, was it something that you thought you were over, or was it something that you knew was unresolved, but you just, it was just like, yo, I don't want to deal with that right now.
It's
So keep it moving. You know what I mean?
it was a little bit of all of that. I thought I was over it. I didn't want to deal with it. Some of it was painful, so that's why I didn't want to deal with it. But in writing the book, I had no choice but to deal with it,
Yeah.
because it's me. It
Yeah.
made me who I am, good, bad, or indifferent. It made me me. So I
Yeah.
had to deal with it. Um, and in dealing with it, I got relief. I got release. If you understand what I'm meaning,
Yeah.
what I mean, it was not pretty all the time, but it was beautiful because it was
Yeah.
what I needed.
Yeah. I'll even continue with your senses in, not only did you get release, you got healing. You were able to get
Absolutely,
the healing that you had so needed and desired all along.
absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
That is
absolutely.
so good. That is so good. I love that you said you wrote it out of obedience, right? Because so often we do delay. Like if I tell the truth,
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
if I tell the truth, I was told multiple times that I was supposed to write a book. And even the last time that I was spoken to about it, and I was like, you know what? I've heard several times that I'm supposed to write a book, but I don't know what to write. And I guess God was like, listen here, young lady, I'm tired of you talking about you don't know. So let me give you some specifics. And
Right,
when the person that he was speaking through literally began to tell me things that I had no idea. Well, not that I had no idea, but that no one else knew.
right.
I was like, oh, he's not playing with me anymore. Right? But even then, it still took me an additional 6 months before I actually started writing. So when I say writing out of obedience, and even with the delay, it's understandable because writing a book that was not on my radar. Like,
So you understand, right?
yes, it was not on my radar. It was not something that I wanted necessarily to do, right? It might have been something I thought about, I don't know, years before, but then, I kind of ventured off, forgot about it, didn't think about it no more.
Right,
But he's like, no, I need you to tell these stories that I give you. Um, because I write nonfiction. There are some I do write some. I'm sorry, I write fiction, but there is some nonfiction that I write. But
okay.
I get stories. I like to create stories.
Nothing wrong
Um,
with that.
no, because let's be honest, some people can see themselves more in a character than they can in real life. Sometimes, if you give them a character, they'll see themselves versus trying to address it head on. They might be like, oh, no, that's not me. That ain't me. That's not me. I don't do that. But sometimes, as they see life play out with a character, they're like,
That is me.
right.
Got it.
Yeah. But so writing out of obedience, it's something. And
It is.
usually, when he's asking you to write, it's because someone needs your testimony.
And that's one of the jewels that I got, one of the pearls that I got after the book was written. He told me that that book is going to help a lot of people come to salvation. And I was like, whoa, okay. And I've read the book. I, I read it while I was writing, and I read it once it was published. And when I read it once it was published, I was like, wow, I did all of that. I came through all of that.
Whoa, wait a minute. So your own book was a testament to yourself. Like, wait a minute.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
It is. And I know the where I am now, it is definitely by the grace of God. because I survived. I survived a lot.
Yes.
And I always thought of myself as this non-generic person, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. There's depth that I didn't know that was there until I wrote the book. And
Mm,
yeah, yeah, like you said, it brought healing, it brought
yeah.
clarity. It just, I can't even, there are no words.
Yeah. And I'm going to say I want to put a pin in that because I want to delve deeper into that when we come back from this quick break.
Okay.
Because knowing all that you've gone through, listen, somebody needs to know. We got to give them some bit of a snippet of it, right? But we're going to take a quick break. You know what to do. Make sure that you go ahead and share this video with someone else that you know could use this word of encouragement. Okay. Sharing is caring, my friend.
Yes.
And while we're on this break, go ahead. We don't need no excuses for you jumping up in the middle of her talking because you're going to miss something good. So go and grab yourself a quick snack and some water, and we'll be right back. This is Pinned the Writer's Utopia. Whether it's a snow adventure in the mountains or a train trip across the country, a tour of the Greek Isles, or sailing the seas, Elegant 3 Travel will get you there. Our executive staffing provides top-level staffing to federal and private sector companies at the most competitive price. We are experts in coordinating projects from design to development, and we teach others the business of federal contracting in collaboration with the Louisiana MBDA Business Center. Global Executive Staffing is the Department of Veteran Affairs, Center for Veterans Enterprise, certified service-disabled veteran-owned small business. At GES, we meet the needs of our clients on time and within budget, every time. To connect with us, go to www.gestaff.com. Welcome back to Pin the Writer's Utopia. We are continuing our conversation with Nailah Agyemann, who is the author of Beauty for Ashes. Listen, you was getting into something good. I had to take a quick break though, but getting back
Excuse
to
me.
it, right? So you were talking about reading your own book and then the aha moments and just the clarity you got in reading it. So my question to you is, because I know all you went through, and I'm like you. I was like, whoa. I mean, whoa. Whoa. Okay. I'm not gonna do no more woes, but
But it was a whoa.
listen. Um, but to see the transformation, to know what you've gone through, and to see the transformation that God did in your life, it was truly amazing. Truly amazing. Because I'm sure with some of the incidents that you went through, you probably felt like, and not just you, but anybody that would have read it was like, there's got to be no way she came back from this. Like there was times when you were out of your mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And and it was nothing. It's by the grace of God that I survived one incident. I don't want to give too much away because I want the listening audience to get the book and read.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there was one incident that if I didn't have angels here on this side, I would not be here in front of you today.
Yeah.
And I when I look back, I see his handprint all over my life. But going through it, I'm not going to say that I disbelieve in God, because I've always believed in him. I just did not feel him in my life. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of people go through that, and which is why we do the things we do and make the decisions that we make, good, bad, or indifferent, because we
Mhm.
don't feel his presence.
Yeah.
And that, when I look back, for me, it it's sad that I
Mhm.
did not feel his presence then, but Lord have mercy, I feel his presence now. I
Yeah.
don't do too much without consulting him first.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I know that you said at the time you now realize that you didn't feel the presence of God. You know what it feels like now, but back then you didn't.
I did not.
Right. So in going back and rereading your story, right? Do you now see in retrospect the places, the God moments that were there, the times when he really was there, but because you didn't know how to recognize him, right?
Mhm.
At that time, you didn't know how to recognize that it was him. Now, in looking back, and you're like, oh, whoa, he really was there all along.
Yes,
Did you have any of those moments as you
I
were reading?
I did. I did. And one in particular was, back in the day. I thought I was smoking some really good ganja. For those who don't know, weed. And I smoked so much of it, it took me to another place. And what I later found out was I was not smoking weed, not pure weed. I was smoking PCP, Love Boat. And it messed with my head so badly that if my mother and my best friend had not come and taken me out of that environment, I would not be here. When I got to the hospital, the doctor told my mother that if she had not gotten me out that day, I would have surely died. I was out of my head, out of
Mm,
my head. It's
yeah,
crazy. I lost weight and I just looked a mess. And so, looking back, that ordeal, I saw exactly where he was in that moment.
yeah,
But going through that, had no idea he was there. None whatsoever.
yeah.
None. And there are other
Mhm.
moments like that throughout the book, but you have to get the book to find those moments. And like I said, when I read that and saw how I overcame that, going through it, I didn't know that it was him that was just moving me through. Like that poem, Footprints in the Sand. When you don't see your prints, that's when you know he's carrying you. He
Yeah,
carried me through a lot of those moments.
yeah. So
A
good,
lot.
so good. But it's always what's the old saying? Hindsight is 20/20.
Absolutely.
And that was the whole reason why I asked that, because you're right. There are times, even now, when you may go through stuff and you're like, God, where are you? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm going through this and it feels like I can't track you nowhere. Where are you? But all along, he's guiding your footsteps. He's
Absolutely.
there, helping and protecting you. He's there. Those inklings you're having not to do certain things, that's him prompting you and leading you, right?
Right.
But we're not recognizing it. And sometimes we don't recognize it because we don't know how to recognize him, especially in our earlier stages of relationship with God, or before you even understand what it is to have a relationship with God, right?
Right. Right. And when I have those moments, because I still do feel like I know he's there, but I don't always feel his presence. And when I have those moments, God help my unbelief. and
Yeah.
and that just brings me right back. And then I realize that whatever he has me to go through, he's not leaving me to go through it by myself, good or bad. He's there
Mhm.
with me. And it takes the transformation that I've had to get to this point. Because
Yeah.
when and I try to tell people, I've been on both sides of salvation, before and after. The life that I have now, it is so much sweeter, so much better than the
Yeah.
life that I had before. Do I still have trials and tribulations? I absolutely do.
Yep.
But those trials and tribulations don't take me for a loop like they did before. If you understand what I mean.
So good. Yep.
Mhm.
No, you're right. Is because you're going through now, you're going through with a different perspective, right?
Absolutely.
So, now that you have a better understanding of God and what it means to have a relationship with God, now when you face different things, you have a whole different set of tools in your toolbox than you
Right.
had before. And so that absolutely makes your journey different. It makes your journey through trials and tribulations feel different. It looks different because your eyes and your perspective is different because your tools are different. And the way
Absolutely.
that you're going to work through it is different, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I
And
love that.
thank you. And even in writing the book, there was one part that was very, very, very emotional for me. And I don't want to talk about that part, but I do want to say that doing that part, doing writing that part, you and I were having one of our meetings, and you
Mhm.
said to me, I told you what part I had just finished. You said, "You sound sad." I didn't even realize that that's what was going on with me, that I was feeling sad. But you helped me to see that, yes, I was feeling sad about writing that particular piece, because writing that piece said to me, this relationship has truly ended. It
Yeah.
ended before, but writing it gave it finale. You gave it,
Yeah.
it was it. And that
Hmm.
made me sad. But I had my
Yeah.
good friend to say, it's okay.
Yeah. You got to work. You got to work through it. And writing it helped you let go
It
of
did.
what you didn't even realize you were still holding on to.
It
That's
did.
what was so good.
It did. That's one of the clarity pieces that I got. Was I thought that when it ended, I let it go. No, I hadn't.
Mm-mm,
I just
mm-mm.
tucked it away.
Yeah,
Didn't think about it, because up here I knew it was gone, but in here it was still there. The
yeah,
writing helped it to get released from here.
yeah. Oh, that's so good. Because I tell people writing is very therapeutic,
Very
right?
much so.
So therapeutic. And most of the time, when you sit down to write, like if you're writing your story or if you're journaling,
Hmm.
you're able to really get out what you're feeling. Like nothing feels as good of an emotional release as writing it out, right? Especially if you're journaling, or in your case you were writing your story, so you were releasing it because you were sharing that part of your life. You thought you was just writing, oh, this is what happened. You didn't realize that you were releasing it in that moment.
I did
Like,
not.
oh wait, hold on, that's sting, that's stone, what was that?
That didn't feel good.
No, no, but even if it's journaling, it's so therapeutic because the pen and paper, it doesn't judge you. It
No.
doesn't it doesn't make you feel bad. It doesn't argue with you. It allows you to truly release from your point of view whatever it is that's on your heart, that's on your mind, and you're able to release it in a very healthy way. Even if you're yelling, or because you know how you yell in writing every capital letter, but
Yes.
but even if it's you yelling in your writing, or just, I don't know, getting out your frustration, writing doesn't judge you.
No,
It helps. It really is therapeutic. It's like your best friend. I call my journal my BFF. It doesn't judge me. It laughs with me. It cries with me. It listens to me. It doesn't talk back, but it does help me problem solve.
it does. It
Yeah.
does. And
Yeah.
I keep saying that I'm going. I have 5 different journals that if the Lord leads me, I want those to be a book.
Oh
It's
wow. Okay.
5 different journals at different stages of my life that I need to put in a book or do something with it. Maybe make a book of poems. I don't know, but something has to be done with it. So journaling does help. It does
Yeah.
indeed help you. All those things that you just said, problem solve, it doesn't talk back to you. You can yell at it and it won't yell back.
Yeah.
All of that good stuff.
Hmm.
It is
And
absolutely.
it sounds to me like we got another book to look forward to, guys.
You
That's what
you
it sounds
know,
like to me.
somebody else who read, one of my friends who read the book, and she said it's a good book, but you're not done. I was like, huh? She said, yeah. She said you didn't touch. She knew about certain things. She said you didn't touch on this, and I said, yeah, but the book was not about that. She said, but it was a part of you, and you need to write about that journey. My pat answer to that is, when if that's the way he wants me to go, he will tell me that. I had my cousin told me last night I need to write another book. God hasn't told me that. And until I hear that from him, and he said something like, he's not going to whisper in your ear like he did the first time. So if you hear this more than once, then maybe you need to heed that.
I'm gonna go and say it. You gonna need to stop shucking and jabbing because you and I have already talked about. I know for a fact. Let me go ahead and hold her accountable, guys. I know for a fact that she has at least one more book to write, and she just said she got 5 more after the one more that I absolutely know she's supposed to write. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
So,
She
like
knows
I
she's supposed to
said,
write another book.
but he if God says write that book, I will be obedient and write the book. I will. He has me on assignment to do other things, so I being obedient. I'm going to do that.
I'm not gonna argue with you about that, but I know. So I think the better terminology that we're gonna use here is when he tells you it's time to write it, that's when you'll write it.
I like that. When he tells me it's time, I will
Yeah,
write it.
because you already know that you need to,
I do.
because that in itself is a healing journey.
It
That in
is.
itself, right? So
It
you
is.
already know that, but I do respect that when he tells you it's time to write is when you'll write it.
Right, absolutely.
But I'm just saying, don't be trying to snowball our viewers, making them think you don't know you're supposed to write another book. I'm not falling for it. I know for a fact that she's supposed to write another one. Now, when I don't know, but I know she's supposed to write another.
And I can touch and agree with you on that. On that,
Okay.
when is he will let me know when, but I do believe that there that book has to be told, no doubt,
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
doubt.
Well, all right. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna continue this conversation about beauty for ashes and the things that you can expect to get out of the book. All
Okay,
right.
all right.
So we'll be right back on the other side of this break.
I've been to a lot of retreats, and this was the best one. And the reason is because it was deep, it was rich, it was real, and it was so inspiring and so connected and guided and led. And I came in with one expectation of what I was going to do in my book and came out with the real book. And the real book is what my purpose is. So I found my purpose.
Hey friends, I'm at the Writers Retreat with Key to Life, and I had no idea what to expect. before we walked in. And man, was I blown away. I mean, the presence of the Lord in this room, the giftedness of the speakers and the gifts they brought blessed everyone in the room. I thought we were going to get nuts and bolts and strategies and tactics and all of that. No. There was a whole other plan in place and got exactly what I came for, exactly what I needed. The book is outlined, the chapters are there, but it was so much more than that. And can't wait to see you next time.
Hello, everyone. I am at the Penn Writers Retreat for Key to Life, and I tell you, this is the end, but it's not the end. I truly enjoyed myself fellowshipping with these ladies. I'm telling you, it has been an awesome experience, and I just want to let you all know you need to be here in September. You need to get here. It is just an explosive opportunity for us to fellowship, for us to cry and laugh, and for all of us to just enjoy the Lord together. So I want you all to just come and join us for the next one. You won't be disappointed. God bless you.
Whether it's a snow adventure in the mountains or a train trip across the country, a tour of the Greek Isles, or sailing the seas, Elegant 3 Travel will get you there. Welcome back to Pinned Listen. We are having a magnificent conversation with my girl Nailah Agyemann, and man, can I tell you, I can't wait to continue this conversation. It has been so good and juicy. We've been talking about her book, Beauty for Ashes, which is, by the way, now available on Amazon. You can also get it on the publisher's website at keytolife.com/Nailah Agyemann. Along with Books A Million and Barnes and Nobles. All right. So make sure that you go get a copy of Beauty for Ashes by Nailah Agyemann. So Nailah, in knowing that the task that you were given or the instruction you were given was to write your story and your journey to salvation, what is your hope that your readers will walk away with from this book?
This is my journey, absolutely. But it is also a story of redemption, that no matter what you go through, no matter how unworthy you feel, because I felt unworthy, there's room for redemption. And that's what I want. That's what I hope people walk away with, that idea that God is real, first and foremost, and he will redeem you. He can and he does redeem. I'm sitting here as an example of redemption. And that's the biggest takeaway. The biggest takeaway. Now, you may read it and say, well, she made this mistake, I won't do that. Fine, if that's what you take away from it. But the biggest takeaway is the redemption. It is about salvation and redemption.
Yeah. And just to piggyback on that, I definitely feel like your book demonstrates that no matter how far away from God you feel you are, there's always a way back.
Absolutely. I grew up in the church like most of us do. And that old saying, that if you raise a child up in the way they should go, it will never depart, is absolutely true. And I think for a lot of people, it's like that for a lot of people. We do, because when we're born into a sinful world, no doubt. And so that's all we know. We don't learn. We don't have to be taught how to sin. It's all around us. But we do have to be taught about God and his son, Jesus. We have to be taught about that. And it is up to us to ready our heart to receive it. Some people do, some people don't. Some people come to it early, some don't. I came to God in my early to mid 50s, and I'm so thankful that he chose a wretched soul like me to save.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful. I
Yeah.
have a granddaughter who is 14. He saved her at 14.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter anything. If you are receptive to him, if you reach out to him, he'll reach out to you.
Yeah.
I
He
can't say
sure
it any
will.
better than that.
No, you can't. No, that's so good. And I'm glad you brought that up. It doesn't matter what your age is. Like
It
you could
doesn't.
be a young person. There are many people who come to God at a young age
Hmm.
and really live a sold out life to God even from that early age. And then there are some who it takes a little longer, but it doesn't make your relationship with God any less valuable because you came at a late age, or because you started so much younger than most people do.
Right, right.
Either way, your relationship with God is your relationship with God, and how you cultivate it is what it will become. If you spend time cultivating that good rooted relationship with God, then that's what type of relationship you'll have. But if you have the skim over relationship, only when I need something relationship, only when it's convenient relationship, then
Hmm.
that's the relationship you're going to have with God. And those are the results that you're going to yield.
And I call that type of relationship the slot machine, because you pull that lever when you need something. You take
Oh,
that gamble when you need something. But what
yeah,
about every day
yeah.
giving him your heart? Every day,
Hmm. Every day.
every day. And
Intentionally doing that. Intentionally
absolutely,
doing that. Hmm.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. And when
so good.
for me, I find that when I make that intentional, I see his intentionality. And those moments when I see that he was so intentional, all I can do is say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
Yeah,
You love me just that much.
yeah. So good. I tell you, this has been such an amazing conversation with you. It always saddens me when it comes to the end, but it's never the end. It's a conversation. I hope that this episode has sparked a conversation within you, our viewers, and that you'll take this back and marinate on it. That no matter where you are, no matter where you find yourself, if you find yourself in a place of needing to write out your story to get the healing that you need. If you find yourself in a place where you're like, nobody wants to hear my story, I'm so far away from God, how could he ever use me? Look at what I've been through. This book right here will encourage you. I pray that just a little bit of her testimony that she shared today, that Nailah has shared, will inspire you to help you know that no matter where you are, no matter where you find yourself, you can always find your way back to God. You can always find your way back. He's there waiting for you.
Mhm.
In most cases, I'm telling you, like somebody told me many years ago, God is waiting on you in the same place that you left him.
Ooh, nugget.
He's there. You can get your way back, but he's waiting on you in the place that you left him.
Hmm.
Go back there and you'll find him.
You will find him.
Listen, so good, so good. So I want to give Nailah a chance because she has been dropping so much wisdom just from her journey to salvation. So I want to give Nailah a chance to give us one final nugget of wisdom that you would like to leave with our viewers.
It is so, so simple. Trust God. I can't say anything more than trust God. Because when you trust him, everything, everything is so much better. Even when something bad happens to you, your trust and your faith in him will see you through. So underneath it all, trust God.
All right. That's her word of wisdom to you. Trust God. No matter what it looks like, no matter what you think, trust God. Find
Yes.
a way to trust him.
Yes.
All right. So once again, we want to make sure that you know Beauty for Ashes is now out and available. Please make sure you go on over to Amazon.com and pick up you a copy. You can also go on over to KitaLife.com/Nailah Agyemann to find a copy on the publisher's website. It's also available in other places. You can get it on Kindle. You can also get it Barnes and Nobles, Books a Million. But again, Beauty for Ashes, make sure you go grab yourself a copy so that you can really read for yourself and see the whole story and not just the small picture that we've given you. Oh, baby, it's so much more
Yes.
than what we've talked about in this episode. So much more to glean and to learn from Nailah's experiences. Nailah, I thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. One more thing I want to remind you guys: the registration for the Pinned Writers Retreat for all you ladies out there is still available. It is now open. Registration is now open. You can go on over to KitaLife.com/Pinned Writers Retreat. Well, Pinned Writers Retreat. You see it right there at the bottom of the screen.
See it.
Go over, secure your registration, ladies. Ladies, sorry, men. I know it's not that I don't love you guys, but this is specifically for my ladies. Go on over, grab you a seat. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. It is a place where women of God, those who are lovers of Yah, the great I am, and lovers of Christ, you can come and just sit at God's feet, sit in prayer and worship and write. It is such a great place to be. Nailah has been, she
I
can
have.
attest to you. It is a magnificent mountaintop experience. Do you agree?
It really is. It truly, truly is. And after that retreat, because I came to the first retreat, I missed the second one. I will be at the next one. I walked away from there with so much, feeling so empowered, so much more uplifted. And he gave me my next assignment within weeks of leaving the retreat. And,
Yeah.
and it was something that was said at the retreat that it's like, wow, I'm doing it and never saw it like that. And
Yeah.
the assignment ties into that nugget that I received at the retreat.
Yep. Look at that. And that's real talk because you were finishing up your book when you came. So you
Right.
were finishing up the writing process, but then to know what your next step was to be able to be in an environment where you can finish writing your project and find out what your next assignment was. That's pretty amazing.
It
So
is.
again, make sure, ladies, you go on over to KitaLife.com/Pinned-Writers-Retreat and reserve your retreat slot today. Early registration does end on June the 15th. So if you happen to not see this episode before then, so sorry, but know that it's still worth you going, even if you missed the early bird special. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I
So
love you.
again, I love you too, baby. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate you. Make sure you share this episode with someone else that may need encouragement or uplifting in their writing journey. That's why we do this show. We want you to know that you're not the only one sitting there sometimes running from your assignment of writing. Even if you're not a writer, especially when you're not a writer and you're called to write, it can be an intimidating process. But I want you to know that it can be done. Look at Nailah. She's a first-time author.
Yes.
And she was able to get her testimony out and find the healing that she needed. Baby, let me tell you, don't delay. If God is telling you to write your story, be obedient. Get it done. Start. You don't have to know the ins and out of it. All you got to do is start writing, and I promise you, he'll give you the further directions on how to get the rest of it done. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I pray that you all have an amazing rest of your week. Until next time, be safe and be well.
Bye.